Texas is the only state in the entire country on its own electrical grid. A nonprofit company called the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, or ERCOT, manages about 90% of the state's power. The company now under fire for not being better prepared.
Is it your assessment that Texas failed to winterize your energy infrastructure properly? Is that a central cause of all this?
It's one of the causes, to be sure.
For more on this, let's turn to Texas Republican Congressman Michael Burgess, who also happens to be a medical doctor. Congressman, welcome.
Good deal. Thanks, Mike, for having me on.
How are things in your district and in greater North Texas following the very difficult power outage, extreme weather across Texas this week?
Well, there's still a lot of people who are hurting. I mean, the good news is the temperature is back up, and, you know, it's Texas. Will be 70, 80 degrees by the middle of the week. Water supply is a big issue. A lot of pipes froze. I guess it was hard getting word out that people needed to perhaps consider turning the water off at their apartment or their house. And as a consequence, a tremendous amount of damage from that, and then the subsequent water damage. So that will be, those uninsured losses obviously will be helped by the disaster declaration, and we are, as a delegation, we are pushing to extend that from 77 counties to all 254 counties in the state of Texas, because it was literally a statewide disaster.
This morning, the humanitarian crisis in Texas is accelerating. Millions still without power or water.
What is going on right now is completely unacceptable.
The city of Houston, the so-called energy capital of the world, brought to its knees. Hundreds lining up for much-needed supplies as officials here tell residents with power to boil water.
How can we boil water? We don't even have power.
We have been without power for 60 hours now and without water for about 24.
My family and I, we've been in the dark since Sunday night.
Frozen water pipes bursting, destroying homes, some causing ceilings to collapse.
We are sitting here by the fire.
In San Antonio, Kristen Haddix is trying to keep her 11-month-old baby warm. Her family's light source is this lantern.
Trying to boil some water so we can make some warm bottles for my daughter.
For folks watching across your state, is it best advice still to boil water just to make sure the water's good to go?
Well, really, the different municipal water districts are issuing those orders. So it depends upon where you are. Problem is, when the pressure dropped from all of the pipes bursting and all the water leaving the system, the difficulty is you can allow things in that normally would be kept out, and that's where the boil report comes from. But my understanding is many of those are getting back up. They're bringing the pressure back up so that those boil orders are going to be expiring in a great number of the areas where they currently are.
Is it your assessment that Texas failed to winterize your energy infrastructure properly? Is that a central cause of all this?
It's one of the causes, to be sure.
Hospitals around the state pushed to their brink, relying on generators and water trucks. In Austin, a facility with 300 patients reporting it's losing heat, even transporting patients becoming an obstacle.
It is very difficult to drive on the roads. As it gets darker and you have ice on the roads, it is very difficult to send people out.
Officials say this week there have been more customers in Texas without power than there were during Hurricane Harvey. They say high demand and overloaded utilities led to the outages.